Your brain is not a prison. A prison is the only place that's a prison. Maybe your brain is a beehive, or better, an ant's nest, a spin class, the sand stuck in an hourglass. Your brain is like, stop it.
My poetry is very voice-driven. It's not maybe like the prettiest or the most polished in some poetic senses, but it sounds like me, and it's mine. I remember reading a Sharon Olds poem called I Go Back to May 1937, and I remember reading a poem by Lucille Clifton called In the Inner City. Those were like the two poems that made me realize like poetry wasn't this mystical thing. I can't always say all the things I'm thinking because my brain is kind of freaking out and moving in 30 different directions at once. And to have a place like poetry where I can put it all in one page is like really sacred to me. I was living in Madison in my early 20s, and I wasn't always super focused on writing. When I moved away in 2017, I started writing about my experiences here. So when I first moved back to Madison in August 2020, I spent the first year here basically alone, like everything was virtual. I was trying to find this new version of myself in a place where I had like made so many mistakes. My mom grew up in Wisconsin, so we would come here in the summers and I would be on my grandpa's like dairy farm, and there would be barn kittens, and everyone was like so obsessed with me because I was like the little girl that like looked different, and had curly hair, and like I loved that positive attention. So even as a kid growing up in Connecticut, I was always writing these poems about Wisconsin as like this idyllic, beautiful place. If you're a poet, everything's about patterns. So I come up with that one sentence or this one idea, and then as I like walk through my life, that idea becomes a magnet, and little things start to come to the idea, and you realize like, oh, that's about that too, or like the reason why I'm so obsessed with that is because it also has to do with this, or like, trying to figure out even maybe if it's not like a magnet, like forcing it to come together, I think I have to live creatively. There's like no other way for me to like exist and be happy. Every time in my life I haven't been writing, I haven't been reading, like those have been the darkest times that I've had because I fill that space with something bad almost always.
My mother is uncomfortable with my top. She doesn't think my boobs should be out like this. She adjusts the TV antenna and says, "Isn't the TV working better now? I don't want to watch football. I'm trying to learn to do my makeup."
I had a poem in the New Yorker a couple months ago. It was terrifying. Having a wider audience or being published in like bigger places, it's been, I think, like a little bit harmful to my writing process because I can get to a place where I'm like, well, I'm not gonna write that down, it's not perfect. Writing is not about being perfect. I love Madison, but I've had trouble with people talking down to me and treating me a certain way because of my race. DeAnart's investing in me was like the nudge I needed to be like, you can stay here longer. Every single time I ever sit down and I'm like, this needs to sound like a poem, it's bad. Sometimes you write for 3 pages and the only good thing is like the last sentence you wrote. It was worth it to write all the BS that came before it because you got one good thing out of it. I feel like I'm still learning to trust myself in my work all the time. Every bad poem I wrote when I was 14, like I learned something from it. I know the person who wrote those thought they were great and was like, writing those bad poems like gave her a sense of relief. There is so much good poetry. There is so much poetry in the world that you can read and understand and can speak to you. And don't feel bad if you like don't understand Emily Dickinson. Like I don't really understand Emily Dickinson. And I'm like, that's fine. When you take the power away from like this thing that's like by all these like dead white people, you're like, poetry is about just telling people how you feel. A lot of people want Black woman to write these like big sad poems about, you know, how sad it is to be Black. I just want to write about what I want to write about. And a lot of times people look at a Black poet and they're like, well, you write about being Black. Of course, what else would you write about? They look at a woman and they're like, well, you write about being a woman. We don't want to hear what you have to say about anything else. I just am like, I have a lot to say about a lot of things, actually. Thank you very much. My Blackness is in my poems. My femininity is in my poems. It's always there. It's never not there. But I am not going to perform it for anybody. I'm a poet because I'm so sensitive. I'm just like so sensitive. Everything, and I'm a poet because I'm sensitive and everything has a pattern to me. I just want to keep going.